Just a few hours, Governor Dan McKee will deliver his annual State of the State address. The governor is expected to tout his administration's accomplishments over the past year and lay out his priorities for the upcoming year. 12 News Politics editor Ted Nesi joins us live now from the State House. Ted?
Well, Kayla, Kim, this is my 15th year covering the State of the State, and there's always a lot of energy here at the State House on this afternoon and into the evening as people converge for the big speech. And of course, at the center of it all is Rhode Island's 76th governor, Dan McKee, who will use tonight to lay out his priorities and give his take on where things stand in Rhode Island. Here's some of what I will be watching. First of all, the deficit. The governor is facing a $300 million estimated budget deficit, and while we won't get the details on how he wants to close that deficit until Thursday when the budget bill comes out, tonight's his chance to prepare people for the decisions he has made. It's also a chance for him to take a victory lap, so we'll be looking at what successes, in his view, his administration had over the last year that he wants to tout, as well as what proposals he is prioritizing in this new legislative session that just kicked off. Of course, also, I'm sure he will be saying something about the Washington Bridge. That fiasco has hung over his administration for the past year. Certainly, I expect the governor to try to argue a corner has been turned and that progress is now being made on getting that new bridge built. And then finally, homelessness. This has been a big topic of conversation in recent weeks. We're expecting a protest here at 6 p.m., partly focused on that issue. So how does McKee discuss homelessness as he faces pressure to potentially declare a state of emergency? One thing we do know is that McKee plans to make another push for an assault weapons ban in Rhode Island. He said he plans to put that in the budget to show how serious he is about it. Coming up at 4:30, I'll have our political analyst Joe Fleming for a look at the political stakes in tonight's speech. But for now, I'll send it back to you from the State House.
All right, Ted Nesi, thanks so much. And you can watch the State of the State address live at 7 right here on WPRI 12 and online at WPRI.com. We'll have the Republican response on our website following the address. And tonight on 12 News at 10, we'll have a recap and analysis from 12 News Politics editor Ted Nesi and our political analyst Joe Fleming.
Tony, thank you. From the bridge breakdown to the housing crisis and the state budget.
Those are just some of the topics Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee is expected to discuss tonight in his annual State of the State address. 12 News Politics editor Ted Nesi is live at the State House right now with a preview. Ted?
Well, Shannon, Mike, the energy is building here at the State House as everyone gets ready for the governor's big night. His speech, as you say, coming up at 7 p.m. And cabinet directors will be here, judges, lawmakers, and among them will be the director of the Department of Labor and Training, Matt Weldon, who joins me live. He's been in that job since 2021. Director, thanks for being here. And I want to ask you, the economy, I've covered a lot of State of the State addresses. The economic section is always an important part of it. What themes are we going to hear from Governor McKee tonight?
Well, I'm excited. This building is buzzing. The legislature's back to work. The governor's going to talk tonight about all the good things happening in Rhode Island, and in particular, his focus on raising incomes for all Rhode Islanders. Last year, he announced the Road to Prosperity plan, and since then, we've been hard at work. We've met with labor, with business, with employers, and we've talked about how they work with the economy and programs and investments that could help them grow in the future and raise incomes. We're looking forward to the governor's speech tonight, where he's going to talk about some of those good things.
And you are one of the point people the governor put in charge of that Road to Prosperity plan. For the viewer at home, can you make any of it concrete, something that the average person might actually be able to take advantage of or experience out of what you're working on?
Absolutely. Along with Shannon Gilkey, the Commissioner of Higher Ed, we've had a lot of conversations, and we've learned that employers are looking for skilled people with some experience. So on the workforce side, what we can do is use programs like work-based learning, and the governor's going to talk about that tonight, how we can invest in people and give them meaningful experience so when they're looking for their next opportunity, they have a better shot.
All right, well, we expect the governor to say a lot more about that. You hear the bell. That means lawmakers are going to start gathering for their early sessions. Those I will expect to be brief, and then we will have the governor's speech coming up at 7. DLT Director Matt Weldon, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
And I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Ted. And you can watch the State of the State address live at 7 right here on WPRI 12 and online at WPRI.com. We'll have the Republican response on our website following the State of the State, followed by in-depth coverage on 12 News at 10 and 11.